everybody, welcome back to BnB Anime. I'm Blue, Brad's here as usual, but we also have a very super special, extra special, fancy guest with us today that I'm super stoked for. Probably had a giggle just then. It is the lovely, gorgeous, stunning, talented, creative Melissa White.
Make me blush in the first few seconds. Thank you guys so much for having me, and thank you for that amazing introduction. I don't know if I can live up to that, but I'll do my best.
You already do. And we love having you within like wrapped up in our projects, and you're stuck with us now. Like we're gonna haunt you for the rest of your career.
This is all I want. This is all I want in life. Please haunt me.
We will. Don't worry about that. We're here now.
Yay!
But Melissa White, you are a fantastically talented voice actress. And you have worked on things like Dragoness, Silent Gods, Nightshade Academy, bunch of stuff. What is that like?
Stressful, but fun. It's really cool. I like voice acting because like it's not monotonous. It's like every day I'm working on something different, which is so cool because like, you know, some days I'm more like audiobook heavy and some days I'm like we're gaming all day, you know, like with our voice, but like we're gaming or like commercials, you know, so it's just there's so much variety. And I get to audition for so many different things every day that it's just like, man, it's the coolest job, for real.
Yeah.
And I just love screaming in my padded room. Like, that's really, it gives me life. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for every opportunity I get, so.
Yeah, well, you're incredibly talented, and both Brad and I are a huge fan of your work, so.
Thank you. You guys are so sweet. I'm a fan of your podcast.
Oh, thank you.
You don't have to blow smoke here. It's fine. We know what we're doing here sucks.
Wow. Yeah, with that attitude. But like, no, I think it's so fun. And I think it's so cool that you guys get together and like you watch these shows together and do your little talking about it and just say what you like and what you didn't like and stuff like that. I just think that's so fun. It gives life more excitement. So I'm here for it.
Yeah. And speaking of shows, today we're going to be covering your personal favorite show, Higurashi. From 2006. Like, this is old school anime.
It's not that old.
No.
2006 was like yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not that old, but I feel like I was back in the old school days of watching 3-minute long YouTube clips trying to get through this and figure out how to find it. Oh,
sure.
My goodness. It was a trip to get through this week.
You're welcome.
I mean, hey, I appreciate the challenge. I also appreciate Blue for helping me actually get through
ad block. I had to introduce ad block.
Okay, yeah. Oh my god.
I didn't realize that I could do that on my phone. Like I didn't realize that they had apps that would actually take care of that shit. So I was dealing with so much shit to the point to where I was fully prepared to drop this and bullshit my way through the entire episode. Not that I don't bullshit my way through every one of these anyway, but I was just fully prepared to read an episode synopsis and just go through it. Then Blue was like, hey, try this. And I was like, oh my God, I fucking love you. This is the greatest thing ever because now I don't hate it trying to get through it.
I know some of like, it's just, first of all, it's weird that it's not on like a typical streaming platform because it's pretty popular. Like, it's like one of the most popular horror anime. So I'm like, why is it not? But it's weird. I don't have that much of a problem with ads where I'm like, I want to quit everything. So I don't know like what happened to you, Brad, but I'm so glad that you found an ad blocker. Blue helped you with an ad blocker because I can imagine it was a pain in the ass for sure.
Well, it's just every time I would like accidentally touch the screen, it would open up a new tab and force me out of it because I was watching it on my phone because iPhones are at least very good with like malware protection and stuff like that because I refuse to try to, you know, do anything totally legally on my PC. So it's one of those things of no, I do not.
Maybe that's why I don't have that problem because I'm watching on a Mac.
See, that's on my list whenever I rebuild my entire office/studio next year is to invest in a Mac as well. Yep. So it's on the list of things to do. So I think it was just weird trying to do it on my phone and just the overall process that it took of any time I would try to do anything. It's like, oh, new pop-up. Oh, new pop-up. It's like, come on, I just want to watch the show. Because especially those first few episodes, I was enthralled, but it was such a slog to get through because of what I had to go through to do it.
I'm sorry. That sounds terrible.
It's fine. We made it through it, and yeah, we'll actually get into the show, but no, it was good. Also, we're not going to talk about the fact that I watched the first 5 or 6 episodes of the wrong show.
I feel like I'm partially to blame for that, because I was just like, I personally try to forget that existed because I don't like it. Like, I'm not a big fan of the continuation / remake / whatever you want to call it, and I'm like, I don't know, so I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh no, Higurashi, like, the 2006 one. But I felt so bad because, Brad, when you messaged me and you like didn't have much to say, like after the 5 episodes, I was like, are you watching the right thing?
Yeah.
There's a lot to react to in the original. So I'm like, you were like, it's interesting or it's something. And I was like, what? But then when you started watching the right show, you were like, oh, like sending me so many like intense messages. So I was like, all right, now you're watching the right thing.
Yeah. No, it really amuses me that Brad struggled with that ad block and everything, because up here in Canada, the lengths I have to go through to find some shows, I'm used to it. I have a technique. Because, yeah, the amount of times Brad's like, oh yeah, it should be on Netflix. I'm like, it's not. It's not.
That sucks.
Yeah. But funnily enough, according to my anime list, Higurashi should be on High Dive. And Netflix for some regions, but it's just, I couldn't see it there, but yeah.
It's licensed by Sentai, so it should be on High Dive, but I used a VPN and checked every single country. It wasn't there, wasn't on Netflix, Hulu. Apparently Amazon has also licensed it, and you can't even get it on there either. They have it listed, but you can't buy it, you can't rent it, you can't watch it. Like, it's not available at all, even though it's showing on Prime Video. And I'm like, why?
What the heck, dude?
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for going through hell to watch this anime just because I recommended it.
No,
I'm like blaming myself. Like, oh no.
No, definitely don't. Again, it was one of those things of, like, I was more than happy to go through it because, again, this is the first time I've struggled to watch anything, so I welcome the challenge, if that's the way to put it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like this is one of those shows that's kind of anime history. Like, you kind of have to watch it if you like anime at some point within your anime career.
Yeah,
and so I'm glad I get to check this one off the box and be like, and it's been so long since I watched something that's like pre-2010. And they have such a distinctive pacing, art style, like storyline dynamic. The voice acting is so specific. Everything has, like, you can tell the era, not just by the quality, but like by the actual creation of the project. That I'm like, I missed this. I missed this side of anime. I haven't been here since like Prince of Tennis. Like, I need to go back to this.
Well, part of it is back then there was so much less anime. It was more of like a quality over quantity type situation. But it's just funny, like the huge like moe eyes that are like half their faces. I'm like, yep, this is the vibe.
Yeah,
this time.
Oh yeah, the bobs with the hair that's just like 2 chunks out front, like.
Typical.
Oh yeah,
but we love it. We love it. Yeah, we're here for it.
You see the incredible cosplayers that like have solid glued helmet wigs that they've created. Oh, it's so
crazy.
Fun. Yeah, I got terrified. I've got a wig on a wig stand on the windowsill just over there. Terrified me the other day because I was like working on my Japanese studies over here, and then I saw it out the corner of my eye. Jumped a mile. Terrified me.
Like, you forgot it was there. I'm like, oh my god, what is that animal over there?
It was like there's a face staring at me through the window, and I'm in a basement. So, like, how?
I would jump too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
you're valid.
I was like, I put it there. I know it's there.
But like the peripherals, I could see that being like so creepy.
Oh yeah.
Do you cosplay a lot?
I used to when I was a teen, not so much recently, but I'm making Brad cosplay with me this summer. So yeah, working on that. Yeah.
It's so fun. Like, who are you going to cosplay as?
So I have a couple options right now. I'm working on a free run wig that I might just have as a free run wig to just have around. But I'm actually thinking of doing Flame from Frieren, because I think there's going to be a lot of Frierens, and I'm quite tall, so it'd be nice to like go around and find Frierens and be like, I am your mentor.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about what we could do for Brad. Yeah.
You guys aren't going to do like a pair cosplay?
We've thought about a couple of different options, but I think you kind of really like the idea of doing Mashal.
Yeah, I mean, for one, I have most of everything. All I'm missing is a cloak and a wig. And so that was just kind of one of the things. But also, with the Frieren cosplay ideas, I just kind of wanted to be Aizen, the little barbarian guy, because I'm 6'4". So the thought of being a tiny barbarian as a cosplay just humors me.
That would be so funny. Oh my god. Well, it's cool to do something like from the same show, because then you're like even more recognizable by people. And I don't know, like for me, I don't know, maybe it's like the attention seeker in me, but I'm just like, I love people coming up to me and asking for my picture when I'm in cosplay. So like I like getting a group together or like a pair, because people are instantly like, oh, that's who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a couple of friends who are a set of twins, and when we were teenagers, I made them a set of Urza and Lucy fairy tale cosplays.
Oh, cute!
And we went to their first ever convention, and they walked around, and they got stopped everywhere to be like,
I love that. So cute.
Yeah, it was so fun. But this is Brad's first con coming up this summer. Yeah.
Welcome to the con world.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
It'll be so much
deodorant.
fun.
It's going to be great. Yeah.
Blue knows. Blue's like, the deodorant is needed.
Yeah, and it's going to be in August as well, so...
Oh, God.
Yeah, at least it's in Canada. At least it's in Canada,
okay.
So it's not like...
Dude, sometimes I'll bring extra deodorant or like little sprays and be like, oh, here you go. Yeah,
they needs to, like, somebody needs to, like, Axe or something needs to sponsor. Have a booth.
Dude, the stench is really stenching at anime conventions.
Yeah.
Or any conventions, really, but...
I've heard horror stories. Thankfully for me, I don't have to deal with that because I've had COVID nose for almost 3 years now, so I don't have to worry about that looming over me for the convention, thankfully.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the positive side of it.
Yeah.
I guess the positive spin, you know? But my friend and I cosplayed as Shion and Reina for a convention.
Oh.
And so Higurashi cosplay, and we got a lot of people wanting our picture, but people were also annoying about it, and they were like, I can't believe it's 2019 and I'm seeing a Higurashi cosplay. And I'm like, it's popular still. What the heck do you mean? They're like, it's not 2006. And it was like this dude who was not dressed up. And so I'm like, I never thought I'd see a weeb cosplay in 2019 either. They're just like himself. But I was like, never thought I'd see that either. No, I was just saying, like, but like, let me live. We were so cute.
I feel like I don't understand that at all. Like, since when did cosplay have an expiry date? Like, come on.
I don't know, man. I just think people are weird and they don't know how to communicate or socialize.
No. But especially it's like an anime classic. Like, if it's still recognizable, even if it's not recognizable, you cosplay because you like that character and you want to show off that character. Like, it has nothing to do with anything else.
He recognized us too. I'm like, bro, what are you even talking about? Like, you knew immediately who we were, but pop off.
Yeah. That's so annoying. I'm glad you're living with that, though, to be like, I'm using this as fuel for any further cosplay. I'm gonna spite you now by doing it. Like, when you're 50 years old, you should just go still cosplaying. Same thing.
I just, I operate solely on spite every single day of my life, so
me too.
Just added fuel to the fire. That's it.
I love that. Okay, but speaking of Higurashi again, I guess we should jump into it because I'm super excited to actually talk about it. So let's do this. Brad, do you have background for us?
What? No, I have a job to do. Oh, whoops.
Oh, shoot. You want me to do what now?
So this whole story, if I'm not mistaken, Melissa, you can check me on this. It all originated as a visual novel.
Yes.
For the PC. And I believe the Japanese publication began in 2002, but was released worldwide in 2009. What were your experiences? Because you've played the visual novel, correct?
Not the whole thing, but a lot of it, yeah. So I actually watched the anime first, which in my opinion, I love the anime, but it's the weakest of the three because there's an anime, there's a visual novel, which is the original source, and then there's a manga. And of course, anime's main weakness most of the time is they don't have enough time to cover all the material from the other sources. So the manga has more, and the visual novel is just like endless. I don't even know how many hours. It's a long visual novel. But I loved I loved the anime so much that I read the manga, and then I started playing the visual novel because I'm like, I just need more. Like, I love this story so much, and I want to see how they differ between different types of media. But I don't know. I was shocked. It was one of the anime that, like, it was still at the beginning of my anime journey. Because I hadn't watched a whole lot of anime yet, and I was just looking for, honestly, like, the most messed up things I could find, because that's my style. Like, I really, really like things that are just awful. Like, they just make you, like, squirm. And so I was watching, like, just anything that popped up that was like, this is really, like, this traumatized me, this scarred me for life. You know, that's what I was looking for. I wanted to be traumatized and scarred for life. And so... And so that's why, like, I got into Higurashi, and then I was watching, and I was like, I've never seen anything like this in my entire life, and I can't really say that about many things that I've seen. And I just thought it was so brilliantly done. I feel like you guys watched the first season, so you don't know, like, all of it yet with, like, all the answers and stuff. But it's just, like, the way that they tie things together and the way that they just have this very intense mystery is crazy. It's the best mystery I've ever watched because like anything that's like, what the hell is this? And like, what's going on? Like, I'm just so confused the whole time until like things finally start piecing together. I just think it's brilliant. So
yeah, that's kind of goes into the plot of the anime. So kind of basic overview is just that it's effectively like Groundhog Day, but mystery with death.
Lots of death.
And it's centering around this one group of friends that are living in the countryside, and various things keep happening to them, and it's just their progression through this, and like you said, confusion for like 90% of the anime, and then like 10% of wrapping it up at the end. So if that's your kind of thing, definitely check out Higurashi if you haven't seen it already. Good luck finding it. And there is also the visual novel and the manga if you want more. But yeah, do you have any more background for us, Brad?
Yeah. So the manga was written by Ryukishi07. It ran from March of 2005 through November of 2011 for a total of, holy shit, 38 volumes in the span of 6 years. That is a lot of volumes.
Yes, it is.
Holy shit. There was a light novel written as well that had a total of 4 volumes from 2006 and 2007. And the anime was made by Studio Dean, and the original season ran from April through September of 2006 for a total of 26 episodes.
Yeah, so on Anime Planet, it scored a 4.5 out of 4 out of 5 is what I meant to say. It scored a 4 out of 5 or an 8 out of 10. And on my anime list, it scored a 7.88 out of 10, giving it an average score of 7.94 out of 10. It also has a drop rate of 8.62%. So approximately 8.62% of people who tried to watch it decided that it wasn't for them. What do you think about that? Like an average of just under an 8 out of 10.
Me or Brad?
You. Brad's not important here today. Who cares about Brad?
Doesn't get to talk.
That's fine, I'll leave.
No.
You know, I personally don't take ratings into account when I watch things. Like when I decide to watch stuff, I just look at the plot. Because honestly, dude, like I've enjoyed some stuff that has like a 5 out of 10 average, you know? So I'm like, I don't pay it too much mind. I think that sounds about right. I think Higurashi is kind of like for a niche audience, I would say a little bit, because it's just like so gory and so graphic. And it's one of those anime where you also have to like think a little bit.
Yeah.
So some people, like, it's not an easy watch by any means, and I think some people are watching anime for, like, you know, we're just relaxing, we're chilling, you know, like, so it doesn't surprise me at all. The 8% drop rate, that's probably lower than I thought, but like 8% of people have shit taste. What can I say? I'm just kidding. You know, like, if it's not my taste, then it's shit taste. I'm just kidding. No, I recognize it's not for everybody, so I'm not offended. I gave it a 10 out of 10, of course, because I just think it's so
lost
good.
you.
Oh no,
I lost
me?
you, Melissa. Are you back?
I'm here. Wait,
oh, there you are. You're back.
Oh, there we go.
You
Okay,
for a
we're
second.
good.
Okay, well, I think you probably caught everything that was important.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think so.
We're good.
all right. That's weird.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of what I was kind of expecting it to be. We don't normally get super high drop rates anyway. I think the highest that there was like a 21%, and that's like extreme, and I don't think we've had anything close to that. So an 8, especially for 2 core anime and something that's older, I feel like that's a solid drop rate. You know, most modern things kind of get around a 5-6% if they're 2 core. So having it being older, quite niche in its genre, and like you said, a more complicated watch, I feel like that's a really solid drop rate. I still feel like it's got a lot of really good fans that are there to back it and give it a good rating.
Yep.
I'll agree with that as well, because it's I honestly expected probably around a 15-ish%, just because it is incredibly niche. Like, I realize where it stands in the pantheon of horror anime and, you know, the following that it has, but watching through it, I was just like, like this doesn't, to me, seems like it appeals to a more broad audience, but at the same time, like, I still also get its appeal and its overall standing where it's at.
Yeah. But yes, it is also rated a 17 plus or R for violence and profanity. Pretty much every single trigger warning you could possibly think of is on this anime, so if that is applicable to you, do your research first. But yeah. Chicken hats, do we want to get into spoiler territory?
Yeah, chicken hats.
Brad caught me doing that one time, and now it's on his soundboard, and it's history from
I have an entire page on my Roadcaster of just blue things. So if there are some you would like to hear, I'm more than happy to play them and embarrass her.
I love it. Just play them all at once. Press them all at the same time.
All right, one moment.
Take your time.
Okay.
I understood all of that very clearly.
Perfect. All right. I honestly didn't realize they would all play together. I thought it would just stop queuing one and go back to another. So you know what? I'm here for it.
That was awesome. I loved it. I was like, this is what my brain sounds like at all times. So it just like was like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have ADHD? Strange question, but
no,
okay.
I don't.
Brad and I do. So
yeah.
That's why. Yeah. No, it's just because that's why this podcast is off the rails 90% of the time. It's because neither of us can keep on track.
I feel like most people that I talk to have it, though.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really common. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel
like it's rare not to have it.
Yeah. You're special because you're normal.
What's normal?
True.
I'm not normal in other ways. Don't worry.
No, you made us watch
loving
this.
Higurashi. Yeah, like I love murder. Death.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Okay. So we're now in spoiler territory. So I guess the first thing I want to ask you is, what about this show blew your mind the most? Like, what is it specifically that's like, this is the shit?
So I was just absolutely fascinated by the arc, the different arcs that they have. Because yes, like a lot of anime will be like, this is the training arc and like stuff like that. But this is like, oh no, we're all gonna kill each other again, like just in a different way. So it was like so cool to see like the same outcome in each arc, in the sense that like everybody's dying, but like they all die differently, and like it's all triggered by the same event, but usually like somebody specific is triggered to do something, and then like just having shit hit the fan. And I think it's so rare to find an anime that balances this like hilarious slice of life, like we're all friends having a good time, and then all of a sudden like it's just horrible. Like it's just, the most gory horror stuff that you've ever seen. So I just think the balance it like drew me in, and also the arc structure of it is just like so cool to me.
Yeah. I think that's probably, I mean, it's something you can't not notice when you watch the anime. So it's definitely something that I paid attention to when I was first watching it as well, was the fact that it's broken down into chapters and then, well, stories and then chapters of each story. And I thought that was clever because it allows you to hook onto this Groundhog Day thing very early, before you've even kind of gotten to the end of your first Groundhog.
Right.
But so confusing. It's so confusing, this anime, until like the last 6 episodes.
Yep. Yeah, season 2 is where you get like the real deep answers of like what exactly is happening. I looked at the episode summaries before this to make sure I don't spoil you guys, because like I'm like, oh my god, okay, where did you stop? Because like season 2 has got like, you're completely unconfused.
Okay, because I still have a lot of questions.
Oh
Same.
yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I think online, isn't the first season basically named the questions arc, and then the second season named the answers arc? Or I think that's how the visual novel might have it laid out. I'm not sure, but I think that's how I've seen it broken down, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the first season has 2 answer arcs. So Shion and Reina's arcs at the very end, those are 2 answer arcs, but like it's still, you know, there's still so much unanswered that happens in the second season. So yeah, it's mostly just being confused, and then it's like, oh, we get a little something something, but we're not quite there yet. So yeah. So you guys are probably still confused, so I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. I think that's probably where a lot of people would have dropped it from, is that, so like I said, 90% of this show is questions. 10% you get a little bit of answers at the back. So if somebody were to drop it, I think it's likely because of the fact that they're just like, okay, but I'm still confused though. And it's, I would not recommend binging this show. You will get exhausted from just trying to like figure it out. Because I watched it over about a week, and I have to say there were moments where I was like, I just have to walk away because this is a lot and I don't know what's going on and my brain is tired and I'm not getting the answers that I want and I'm frustrated. But I think that takes a skill for them to be able to tell a story that literally frustrates you as a viewer, to be like, just tell me what's going on.
Right. Yeah, because it is like, it is frustrating too, like especially when you start to like these characters and you have to keep seeing them get killed over and over again. It's like, okay, like how can we stop them from getting murdered? Like, come on, what can we do here? So it is frustrating, but I think like if you stick with it, the answers are so satisfying that it's like, all right, it was all worth it. It's all worth it in the end. But yeah, I don't blame you at all, Blue. It's just like, oh my god, my brain is like about to explode. So I understand.
Yeah. I have to say though, the amount of times that I was like, oh, I kind of sided with the killer was astronomical. Like every time I was like, no, I get it. I would, I get it.
I think, and that's what I think is cool too, because it's like one of those things where it's like whoever's the antagonist in that arc, they have like their motives. Like they have a decent reason for doing what they're doing. But yeah, it's like, I don't know, it just gives you a lot of sympathy for them. Whereas sometimes in anime, I feel like the antagonist, you're like, all right, like, what are you doing? Like, this is like, it doesn't make any sense. But in Higurashi, it's like, all right, yeah. They like do a good job of getting you to feel for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which makes you question your own sanity.
Yeah. Some parts of the show are just gross as well. Like the the maggot stuff.
No.
Claw your throat out.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were teasing that for so long leading up to it, and you're like, why would he do that? Why would he do that? Why would he do that? And then you get to that part, and you're like, oh no, that's awful. That's so bad.
How do you guys feel about the fingernails?
Not great.
Not great. I loved it.
Not as bad as the maggots, but the fingers, it was between that and the nails going through the fingers. Those two I wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
It's so gross.
Yeah.
I do like you guys, even though I made you watch this. Like, I'm just... just want to make sure you know, like, I just think it's so good. But yeah, there's that, and then like the intestines, like the like disemboweled like stuff. I'm like, oh my god. But it's like, I feel like, to me, it's not like gore just to have gore. Like, there's all like some kind of tie-in. I don't like when it's just like, all right, here's your shock factor, and we don't have a real reason for doing this. I feel like Higurashi, it's like, oh my god, no, like it really adds to the story and like what they're going through and stuff like that. So
yeah, I will say, with it being 2006 animation style, some of it is a little bit corny and funny because of that.
Yeah. For sure.
So there are times when it's like really gross stuff is happening and you can't help just like sit there and like laughy, giggly satisfaction.
Oh, dude, it's so it makes me mad because like it really is like a really like horrible story. But like the way that it's animated, like I'm just like, why? Like there's one part I always think of where like Mion is like shaking the ladder when Keiichi's on it and her face is like all like deformed and stuff. I'm like, what is happening? Like, I don't know. The animation is not the best. I'll be the first to admit that. But I'm just like, you know what? It kind of adds to it sometimes. But other times it's like, oh, that was really funny. It wasn't supposed to be, but.
What are your thoughts on the animation, Brad?
I gave it a lot of passes, again, for reasons y'all just spoke about, because it is from 2006. But at the same time, I feel like there was also like a lot of just odd inconsistencies with it. I mean, I love the art style because growing up in the Sailor Moon era of things, like this was 100% right up my alley as far as stylistically goes. But then I was still like, because we've seen quite a bit of Studio Dean stuff on here and even some of their earlier works. I'm just like, it's a little inconsistent, mainly on the faces for me. Like in the normal scenes, the faces were just inconsistent. And that was kind of my biggest things. For the moment with like the ladder shaking and whatnot, that honestly added for me. Cause I'm like, oh, like they're having a moment. Like I'm actually okay with this, but it's in the, moments of like in the final standoff in the last couple of episodes at the school, and you see Oishi's face and it's just like weirdly shaped and like eyeballs like on the far side of his face, and I'm like, that's a very odd choice to animate that, but okay.
He's in his chameleon era. He's just looking in two directions.
Hey, that's how you be vigilant right there. You just get a bigger FOV.
That's how you become the ultimate detective.
Oh, yeah.
You have to grow your eyes on the sides of your head, you know, like be able to move them around. You see all, you know?
Oh, yeah. One thing I did like with the animation was the progression. I felt like the murders in the first chapter were far less exaggerated, but there was a noticeable intensity building with the animation throughout the chapters as you went. And they got more and more and more crazy style. The faces got way more deformed. Corpses were more icky. Like everything progressed and increased as you went, which I thought was a good way to visually up the intensity, which was needed because when you have the same kind of story repeating over and over and over again, it can get pretty tedious at times. If it were me, I would have edited down quite a bit of the repeating of telling stuff. I found that sometimes they would show whole scenes that we had also previously seen as opposed to enough to trigger the memory. I thought that it's a very common technique to do flashbacks and that kind of thing, and humans are pretty smart. Like, you can read a book and then like 5 years later read the next book in the series and remember the first book. So I'm like, that was kind of one of those things where I was like, skip this bit, like I know what's happening, and I just wanted to get on to the next bit of content. Instead I had to watch 2 minutes of recapping. So I feel like it could have been 24 episodes as opposed to 26 with just some editing down, in my opinion.
Fair enough. No, I 100% get that. It wasn't as bad as, oh god, what did we just watch recently where I did that?
Oh, Solo Leveling?
Yes. Oh my god, the exposition in Solo Leveling, watching it through a second time. It Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
There's in Solo Leveling, they have some segments where they're just kind of monologuing information to you, and it's it's pretty zone outable.
Yeah, it's very chunky. You know how a lot of anime give you exposition, but it's like a little bit here at a time, like 60 to 90 seconds worth. Solo Leveling, it's like 4 to 5 minutes worth.
Oh my god, no.
Yeah.
Show me, don't tell me. You know, like, just like immerse me.
Yeah, and that's one thing I actually wrote that as a note for here. Very good at showing the story versus telling for Higurashi, because
nice.
they especially considering we did Solo Leveling literally last week and I've been editing it today even. I had such a clear comparison of like, okay, dumping a load of information on us, but the way they're doing it is like teasing by little pieces at a time.
Yeah.
And then you get to like add them up and you have theories in your mind of like, how's this going to work? And then they don't give you anything for forever. And you're like, and then you just get more and more questions and more theories until at the end you get given 10% of the information that you actually want. So I'm excited to go into the second season. I definitely will watch the second season because I have so many questions. But
I want to hear your theories.
Yeah. Well, the aliens thing in the end threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting that out of nowhere.
I had such bad Darling in the Franxx flashbacks.
Me too,
From that, like, holy shit. The first time they mentioned aliens, I was like, God damn it. No, they did not. No. Because it pissed me off. Because I was immediately taken back to everything post episode 15 of Darling in the Franxx.
Spoiler alert.
Got me so upset that I was like, no, okay, it's fine. Because just that little bit of snippet at the end of episode 26, I was like, okay, I'll forgive the alien stuff because it's fine.
I think in my theory is that the alien stuff isn't actually aliens, and it was just hypothesis and speculation, and I don't think it's actual believable. I don't know what's going on with the repeating the month of June thing, and now they're all kind of aware of it, but they're not really aware of it. But Mika she's aware of it. She's kind of in on it somehow. Like, so many questions. And the conclusion of this season was, it's just a strange town. And that...
Yeah.
That, I lost it at that. I was so mad. I was like, what do you mean it's just a strange town? And that's the answer that I get.
That's it.
It's just a weird town.
I mean, yeah, that should have been what you hypothesized to begin with, right? Like, oh yeah, it's just weird, you know, this is just everyday life for them. That's just how it is.
Yeah, it's just every June. Again and again.
No problem. No big deal. But yeah, I don't think I had like any idea. Like, I was trying so hard, but like I know people who have watched it who like got really into the theorizing, and I'm like, dude, like, I'm not that smart. I'm like, I just need them to tell me what's happening.
Yeah, at one point I was thinking that it might have been because they kept going on about like the gases and the some kind of natural thing, and I was like, okay, well maybe it's like some kind of hallucinogenic that's coming out of like the volcanic ash or like whatever's happening in the nature-wise thing, where it's like, because they keep going down into cave systems, and I'm like, maybe from the cave systems like this poisonous gas is leaking out that's slowly turning everybody kind of crazy, and these teens specifically keep going to the areas where it might be more concentrated. And I was like, maybe that's the thing. But that's my only going theory now. My other ones kind of got nixed because they like didn't make sense. Yeah. Do you have any theories, Brett?
Well, you see, it was that bit about the whole natural gases thing. It was that one storyline that I'm very, that was kind of the one I wanted paid off the most, because it was the one where, it's like, oh, everybody died except for him. And it's like, that's like, I get it because main character and all of that, but also why? Like, of all the ones to give me a payoff for, why that one? And also, what is Rika? Why is she the only one that actually knows these things? And also, why is Keiichi, only just like pieced it together off of one flashback. Like all he got was just one of the do-overs, and that was it. I'm just like, where is this coming from? I'm baffled by just like the amount of questions I have, and I'm left unanswered because I'm comparing it to a lot of other shows where I've seen stuff like this. Like the comparison I made with you, Blue, whenever I was like, what in the Bunny Girl Senpai did I just watch? Like that was the whole second arc in like a weird way, with like the mention of like a same month just repeating over and over again. But then you've got the ReZero aspect of the resets from death. I'm just like, what is happening? How is this happening? Two, why is this happening? And what in the parallel universe is going on to make this happen? I'm so confused.
That's the point. That's the whole point of season 1. I like season 2, I swear, like it's just like because everything just like comes together and you're like, oh my god, like I have nothing left, because it's just like everything that you were wondering, they just actually answer stuff. I understand the frustration because I've watched anime where it's like, really? That was the end? And it's like, I don't know, it's so frustrating to like have all that build up and not have things come together and still have questions. But no, Higurashi like answers everything and probably more like that you weren't even thinking of, where it's like, okay, like yeah, it's all this and this, and it all makes sense.
Okay, cool.
So it's like season 2 is like just a constant flow of answers.
Okay, cool.
So it's like it's a lot more. Most people who get through season 1, they like season 2 better.
Okay.
Because it's just like, it's so satisfying to have that like, oh my god, what the heck is this? And then it's like, all right, no, this is what it is. Like we got it now.
Okay,
so.
That's good to know. Could you imagine being like 2006 and you're a teenager and you're watching this week to week? Like,
no, I would die.
No.
I'd be so angry all the time. I can't imagine like not watching multiple episodes at once, because it's like, oh my god, like you just want to know like what's going on, and
yeah,
that would be so painful.
Right? Oh my god.
No thanks.
Yeah. One of the things. Okay, so I'm curious with your career that you are so magically talented at, Miss
Stop.
I'm curious about your thoughts on the voice acting, because there are some very specific choices that the voice actors have made or were directed to make throughout this anime, of having very distinctive vocal changes during intense moments, and even like not when they're like possessed by the ogre or whatever, like when they're just speaking about something that's more serious, their vocal pattern changes incredibly, to the point where there's sometimes like the voice who's speaking is not visually on the screen, and you're like, who's talking? And then it flicks to them and you're like, oh, okay, because it's so different from their child voice. So I want to know your thoughts and feelings on this.
Yeah, so I've seen the sub and the dub. Which one did you guys watch?
I always watch sub.
I watched the dub.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right, so we got everything going on. They do the same thing in the dub.
Okay.
But I personally love that, because I think like it really adds to the intensity of it, of like, oh my god, like something is horribly wrong, and it adds that like eerie, like creepiness, because they're all like, we're super cute girls, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like, and also we're gonna kill everybody, you know, like, so it's like, I love that dynamic. I can see how it'd be confusing like when they're not on screen, because yeah, it's like, oh my god, like who was that? But I think also like you get used to it like as the show goes on. I think at first it's confusing, but then it's like, okay. And I just have to say too, like, mad props to Shion and Mion's voice actor, because it's the same voice actor, and they still sound so distinct. Like you can tell like it's Shion versus Mion. Obviously not when you're not supposed to, but like when it's like, oh, this is Shion. Oh, okay, like I just think that was an incredible job that she in particular did. Like I just major props to her, but I think also like Reina's too, because Reina is like, in my opinion, the creepiest of the cast. And I think because she's so cute, like so just like nauseatingly cute, when she makes that switch, it's like, oh shit, you know, it's like, oh my god, what's happening? So I personally am a fan of the voice acting. I think it's different compared to like what we're used to in like, you know, more modern anime. But I think like it made it more uneasy to watch, you know, where it's like, oh god, like that made me like feel like I'm gonna poop my pants or something. Like, what did you guys think though?
I think the voice acting carried it for me. Like, out of everything, like it just added so much to the overall story, especially with, you know, the vocal changes of all of the characters, and especially with Reina, because Reina, out of everybody, I think was probably my favorite character out of the bunch, just because of how well rounded the character was towards the end, and just kind of the overall, I don't know, like, it's just something about that performance just kind of like pulled me in the most out of everyone. But no, I 100% think the show was carried by it, because for it to be 2006, holy shit, like, it was an incredible job for what it was and for when it took place. So I was very, very impressed by it.
Yeah, I think Rico was the one who stood out the most to me. But I found that I really liked when she was predicting the future, or more in her like mystic vibe. Her voice became almost haunting, and she was the one who I got the most confused with, because I was like, when she wasn't on screen and she had switched to that voice, because I was like, who is this adult lady that's here? But I think that aided her character, because she is this aged, kind of all-knowing spirit kind of person at the moment. Like, that's kind of how I see her in my brain, is this fortune teller psychic. And so I think it really did aid in creating that mystique to who she is as a character. So yeah. Yeah, I thought that was cool. Speaking of adults though, where are they in this show?
Who needs them? They have their teacher, you know, like they got the teacher in there. They got sometimes parents, not often, but sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, the school environment in particular is so interesting, because it's just like everybody of all ages, because it's a small town. I'm like, how are you learning anything at this school when you're all different ages? But yeah, it's like the adults, we don't need them. They don't exist. Oishi's around all the time. Like,
it's his name in particular makes me laugh, because although it doesn't have the second I to it, it's delicious.
He is a delicious old man. Like, you know. It's a fitting name.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought that about his name. I'm like, because every time I would see it, because I had started watching the show subbed, and then I switched to the dub so I could actually get through it faster, and I was like, that humors me. I don't understand why, but the name humors me.
They're just telling it like it is, you know. They're like, we know he's delicious. We know. Could name him that. The delicious detective, Double D.
Yeah, that should be his tagline.
He should hire me to do his marketing for him. I would.
Yeah, put it on his badge. So whenever he's like ID and badge, it's just delicious detective.
Man, I wish that was me. I feel like I would rule the world if I could have that title for myself.
So like, yeah. You just have a spin-off show just traveling the world. Solving crimes like Nancy Drew.
This is what we need, all right? Like, this has to happen.
Somebody get us a reality show.
Right? I'd be so down.
But specifically on the final like fight scene, I guess, when they're on the roof of the school. Actually, just this whole school fight in general, this whole school thing, because all of the kids are inside the building. And then, I forget who, Reina, leaves because she's off to go and deal with the situation that they might be finding the trigger for the explosion. And all the kids just sit patiently in the room and just wait for her to return and possibly set them on fire. And instead of jumping out the window, that they only do after he stops the timer on the roof, and then, now we can leave.
Well, they think they're gonna get blown up if they leave, right?
But she had already gone, and it must lessen the kids. The police officers didn't try and sneak in at all. They didn't do anything to try and help the situation. They're watching two children fight with a sword on the roof of the building, and they're just like...
That's like real life.
True.
The police don't do anything. That's pretty real.
That's unfortunately very true.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I was was just watching it. I was so frustrated from the adults. I was like, step in, you're an adult, step in.
Right.
And they just don't. They're just watching it with their chameleon eyes, looking in two different directions, not paying attention to these children. And I'm like, I want the children to have their story because I like their story. But as an adult, you're an adult. Step in.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm just like, what is happening? But then they always have like, I don't know, I feel like there are adults, they're just like such side characters that it's like, you're irrelevant.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, cause like all of the leaders, you know, like the Sonozaki family and then like the Furude family, like they're there, but it's like, all right, you're the most like subplot thing here. Like, you know, so yeah, it's like these kids, they just run the world and it's fine. But
yeah,
I don't know. I could see why it's like annoying. I'm like, why? You should do something, you know, be an adult for once.
Yeah, especially because I think the thing that was frustrating the most was that they were listening through an earpiece, so they knew, well, they were on the roof at that point fighting. So the classroom was very available to step into. They knew that there wasn't like a tripwire or anything. So they could have been at least in motion to get those kids out while things were happening on the roof. So I think that was my biggest frustration with it, was that it was a clear step away. Like things were happening very separately to and they weren't involved. So that was just one point where I was like, ugh, come on.
Right. Valid.
Yeah. But yeah, the power of friendship saves the day.
Always.
Yeah.
That's anime in general. Wait, so okay, I have to know though, Blue, who is your favorite character?
Oof. Shion, I think. I like her. You too?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel so validated in this moment because like I know she has a lot of haters and I'm like, no, she's the best.
No.
Like it's just not even close.
I
like
love
respectfully.
her vendetta. I love it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
For love.
I'm like, you've known him for 2 minutes. Go off, queen. Like, kill everybody.
Why not? You know, like it's true love. Okay, good. Okay, but you can keep going. I'm sorry, like cut you off.
No, you're good. No, I love Shion. I thought she was the one who made me feel the most emotional throughout the show. She really pulled on my heartstrings. The Romeo and Juliet of the situation of not being. I think the biggest thing though, other than not being able to see each other, was that she never got any answers, and she was begging for answers, and she thought she had done everything to save him. And then to find out that not just your family, but your twin sibling, like your twin sister, your womb mate, the person who you trusted with literally everything, who's already had everything in her life because she's the better twin, effectively, has, possibly betrayed you. I got it. I was here for it. Yep. And the level of gaslighting that she went through, possibly, I don't know, we don't have all the answers yet, but the level of gaslighting right now that I feel like she went through is enough to justify the craziness of her actions in my mind. To be like, well, obviously, you give her an explanation now, she's not going to believe you because you already gave her 7 before that didn't make any sense. So, yeah, I love Shion. I think she's great.
Okay, good. I'm here for this because I feel like most people, valid. A lot of people say Reina and Rika, they're like the most popular, which I love them both, so I'm not mad. But I'm like, my girl Shion deserves more love and respect. So I'm so glad she's your favorite.
No, I loved her. I thought she was great. I thought she was so dramatic and insane. And she came at such a good point in the story where things were kind of getting a little bit repetitive. Like I said, it was around the time when I was feeling like they needed to be editing down some of those scenes where they just needed to give us enough to jog our memory. And I feel like they gave us enough to be like, okay, get to the point. And and so she came at a really good time for me to rehook me back into the story and get me out of my head and bring me back into the world, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, it was like perfect timing because she's the first answer arc too. So like that's when like, we start to like figure stuff out. But yeah, that's awesome. And then Brad's is Reina, and then mine is Shion.
Oh, nice.
The cosplays, Shion and Reina, like, we cosplayed the right characters.
Yes. I'm gonna have to get my twin friends to do Shion and Mion. I have to be like, you have to.
They should.
Yeah. Next con they go
so
to.
Cute. Yes, do it.
Just invite them to Edmonton. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'll have to make their cosplays though because they do not know how to make cosplays. I love them, but they are not cosplayers. Last time I made this.
At least they're relatively easy cosplays to do.
That's
though.
true,
The hair
super
would
easy.
just be the biggest pain out of the bunch.
Yeah, I feel the hair would need some gluing, but that's fine. That's fun. I like doing the hair more than the cosplay.
I just got normal clothes, and then like I had my friend sew some buttons on the skirt for me,
Nice.
you know, and like cut a slit in it or something. Like it was super easy, and then a green wig. So it's like not anything crazy, because I know some people like they make their whole cosplay. My friend made her entire Reina outfit, so like she was cooler than me. But I'm like, I can't, like I don't have that type of skill. But Reina's outfit is a lot more specific than Shion's. But Shion and Mion are both like really easy, I would think, to do.
Yeah, I like to try and make as much of mine as I can whenever I cosplay, but I don't compete, so I'm not stressed by it.
Yeah.
And I have no artistic ability when it comes to stuff like that. So I'm like, can I just buy it, please?
Real, same.
I'm so inept whenever it comes to anything crafty like that. Drawing, I got you. But having to sew, like, I don't know if either of y'all had to do this, but in chemistry class, we had to sew a mole.
No, I didn't do that.
No.
Yeah, we had to like make a stuffed mole whenever we were discussing like the chemistry mole. Like it was weird, and we had to make it like a pun. So I don't know, it was weird, but so it was. I created Frankenstein's monster for that. It looked so awful. I wish I could find a photo of it because it was that bad. So I'm like, no, just please let me buy it. I beg you.
That's so funny. That would stress me out. Like, why? Why do we do this?
Yeah. Speaking of bought costumes, though, that's probably one of the reasons why deodorant is so needed at cons with all that synthetic material.
Yeah, but also they just don't shower.
That's it.
I'm just trying to... Listen, I respect that you were trying to give them credit, but man, I've been around anime fans not in cosplay, so they have no excuse.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what are you guys doing? I love anime fans, and I'm one myself, but I'm just like, come on, guys. Like, that's why you see all the signs about, like, please practice basic hygiene, like, at conventions. You see them everywhere, but it's a problem.
Yeah, fortunately for me, I've only been to Canadian conventions where it's not that hot. So I feel like we get it pretty easy, pretty I mean, it's still not great, but I have heard stories of conventions in like LA and stuff, and I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, well, it's like Dragon Con. It's the big convention in Atlanta, and it's the first weekend in September where it's hot as fuck in Georgia, because end of August and early September is like dead summer for us. And so that's just whenever they decide to have the biggest convention in Atlanta. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. By like mid-end of August, it's already starting to cool off a little bit here. So
nice.
Yeah, it's normally not too crazy. Yeah, though. Brad, do you have any more thoughts? I kind of steamrolled this. So if you have any thoughts, let me know.
No, it's just I want answers. That's that's primarily my thing. I'm left with so many questions, and that's it. I want answers like yesterday, please. Okay, thanks.
I mean, that's super valid. Are you gonna watch season 2, Brad?
Oh, absolutely.
You gotta get your answers. Like, I promise the answers are coming, I swear. I know it's frustrating, but it's like, it's so satisfying. Just trust.
Would you recommend that we play the visual novel?
I would, yeah, if you have time, but it's long as frick. It's so long. It's so long. But it's like, if you play the visual novel, there's like sprite updates, so like the art looks a lot better. The original look is terrible. Like, you can't take it seriously. Like, if you look up Higurashi visual novel on Google Images, like, it looks terrible. But there's like an easy update that you can install so that it looks better. So I would highly recommend that because they look way more normal.
Okay.
But I think the visual novel is beautiful. It gives you a lot more insight and like just more time with the characters to really like feel these motives. Like, I'm on Shion's arc right now in the visual novel, And I'm like, wow, I love her even more. I feel like it just gives these very complex characters even more background, because I feel like in the anime it's a little like, even though it's too long, like because they do all the like recaps and stuff, like it's just so, I don't know, I feel like I want more from all of them with the anime. So
well, you said that the anime was your least favorite of the three, so do you prefer the manga or the visual novel?
The visual novel, because it's the original source, but I still like the manga too. Like, I think if you have less time, the manga is better because you can get through it a lot faster. But the visual novel, I don't know, it's just like, you know, the music, some of the stuff is a lot less graphic in the visual novel than in the anime. Like the anime, they like went all in on it. But like, for example, in the visual novel, they don't show the fingernail thing. They just are like, oh, this is what happened. And they have like blood splatters, you know? So it's like, it's less like jarring, but I think like it's still very much like it's got that like really nice mystery, and like, I don't know. I think they're both great. So like whatever, I feel like it's more of a time thing. Like however much time you want to dedicate to it.
Yeah, I did find it interesting which things they did show in the anime versus ones they didn't, because like the big stabbing scene where Shion is stabbing Satoko over and over again. That one, I thought it was interesting that they didn't really show much of that, and then they did like a pullback, and like, but you didn't really see much in detail, and then you got like one glimpse of a cut on her upper arm, but you didn't get much of that. But other parts of the show that I thought would be considered to be more gross, you got fully. So I was so I found it interesting which ones they decided were like, that's too far, we're not showing that. And I was like, oh, I would have switched those.
Right. Yeah, I think it's like it's different for everybody too, like what they're like, oh, this is worse or this is better. But they showed enough, I feel like. They definitely showed a lot.
Yeah. And then the old lady, the grandma, she's really interesting because nothing's really explained about her yet. So she's just kind of like this possibly conniving old lady who's stuck in her ways and wants to destroy people because she kind of feels like it, to give off the essence of some god that wasn't really a god, that she just wants people to believe in so that she can go behind the scenes and murder people for her own free will. And then she's got all of these underling men who are just like, yes, grandma, do what you like.
Yeah.
Or she has nothing to do with anything, and all of this has just somehow been placed on her due to some other outside reason, and she's getting blamed for it, and she's just some old lady. Like, those are the two options right now. And I'm so interested to see if it's either of those, or, knowing this show, if it's a weird third one that I don't know anything about yet.
Here's my question, right? So towards the end, whenever you're going through the Shion acting as Mion story, or no, maybe it was Mion. Whenever they're having the showdown with the detectives at the end, where they're like, yeah, so listen, we're looking for Reina, and here's all these things. Who was the green-haired chick sitting next to Mion? Who the hell was that? Was that explained?
I can't remember.
I don't know what you're talking about. What scene?
When the detectives were like trying to figure out where Reina was, because they were trying to get, whenever Reina had called in like, hey, there's this conspiracy, there's all this shit going on, and they were giving the demands to the detectives of like, hey, we'll, you know, if she shows up, like, we'll present her unharmed, but our lawyer has to be with her.
Oh, that's her mom, isn't it?
Is it? I don't think that was explained.
I assumed that was her mom.
I mean, that's what I assumed, but also like no titles were given, no name was given. I'm like, who is this lady and why is she here?
Yeah. No, I just, that was my assumption. It was just, that's her mother.
It was my assumption too, but like I said, there was just no title given, and that's the only time they were shown in the entire show up to that point. And I'm just like, where have you been?
True though. Why did you just yeet one of your kids off to an academy for forever and to just bring them back so they could murder people? That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I was just very lost by that whole thing. Again, with the whole conversation earlier in this recording of where are the parents? Where were you this entire time?
Yep.
Oh, and then we get this plot line of this random lady who decides to go after Reina's dad and like swindle him of all of his money. That was an interesting addition. We're kind of right at the end, because by that point I was like, okay, I'm kind of used to these characters, I'm used to the storyline, and then we get a new group of characters kind of coming in. That was interesting. I was like, whoa, okay, give me a minute, I gotta catch up again, I wasn't prepared for this. and then to see her, that was self-defense originally, and then she kind of went a bit far, but like in the junkyard. And also that Volkswagen, I want that van. That's a 15 split window Volkswagen camper van. That's my dream van. I was like, I saw that and I was like, I know that van, I want that van. Could you imagine?
Focusing on the important details.
Always. But like the idea that that's her like childhood teen hangout spot, is to like climb into this van in a junkyard. Oh my god, could you imagine the adventures you would have as a kid? Like, I'd love that.
I'm here for it. I would love to do that. I wish I had that.
That's so fun. That would be so fun. But that completely got me off track, because I saw that van and I was like, yes, I want the van. But yeah, she was very fake to Reina, and then like said, okay, do you believe she was pregnant, Brad? The lady.
No.
If she is, it's not his. It's not her dad's.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But whenever she's going into that spiel, I'm like, nah, there's no way. Like, she's just trying to get sympathy, and then Reina dropped the bomb on her. Like, she knew everything, and like her whole demeanor shifted, and she's like, oh yeah, you're pretty smart, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, no, that had to be bullshit, right? Surely.
Yeah, I don't know. She gave me the ick right away as soon as I saw her on screen. Something about her, I don't know if that was intentional. I'm going to give them credit. That was intentional. That they made me feel icky about her when she was nice, because they did. And I was like, I don't like her for some reason. And then when it came all out and then she got beat to death, I was like, yes, murder her. I don't like her.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's commit murder.
Yeah. Not really. Please don't do that. Don't do that.
Only in fictional media,
yeah.
of course. Not in real life. We don't condone murder on this podcast.
No, but we do condone anime.
Only sometimes. Is murdering yourself in other ways, like sometimes, depending on what you're watching. Life. Yeah.
What's a social
suicide?
Life?
Yeah, what's that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. This podcast. This is the social life.
But Oishi, the detective, he kind of went crazy for a bit. So I'm interested to see about that, because he's kind of in on it, but he's not in on it, but he knows shit, but he doesn't know shit, and he cares about it, but sometimes it feels like he doesn't really care.
Yep.
He has me questioning things as well, where I'm like,
I love him.
Yeah.
He's delicious, but no, like that aside, like I just think his character is so fascinating. Like usually I don't like the cops, like in shows I'm just like, can you like go away? But with him it's like, I don't know, it feels like he has such good intentions for the most part. That's why I'm like, oh my god, like you're really trying to help. I understand. He's just like, his social skills aren't that great either, and he has like a creepy laugh, and so it's like, oh my god, like get away from these children. But no, I think like he seems like very wholesome as a whole, and so I'm like, it's hard not to root for him, for me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I want him to be able to solve it. I feel like he's, in quite a few times he's not been able to do anything. He's really had his hands tied by the higher ups, which again, very true to real life. And that's frustrating from a viewer's perspective, because you can feel how much he wants to just like break into places and deal with it, but he can't.
Yep.
So then he's kind of manipulating. Not great for him to manipulate teenagers to do his bidding for him, but he does.
No.
And sometimes effectively, sometimes very much not so. So I would like him to be able to get the satisfaction of the resolution that he clearly is desperate for in some storylines. In other storylines, he's kind of a catalyst for more chaos.
Yep. Everybody is.
Yeah.
At some point.
The coach, though, he's kind of creepy.
Ew, I hate him. He's like the worst character in the whole anime. I'm like, can you stop?
Yeah.
Like, this is a child. Because it's like, dude, like, Satoko, like, goes through way too much without this man.
Yeah.
Like, way too much. So I'm like, can you let her exist without you?
Yeah.
Like, it's so gross. I get so triggered every time he's on the screen. I'm like, no, get out.
Yeah.
You're not here.
Fully, yeah. Because he uses the excuse of wanting to adopt her to just be a pervert. And it's just icky and horrible. And I didn't get the satisfaction of seeing him be tortured to death, so I'm mad about it.
I know. It's like, if he was, like, in the main murder circle, that would be great. Because, like, that would be so satisfying just to be like, yep, he deserved it. He got what was coming to him. Because, yeah, it's like, it's gross. He's like, yeah, like, once I adopt you, you know, I'll dress you up as a cute little maid and shit. I'm like, ew, no the fuck you won't. I'm sorry, I get, like, really passionate about this because, like, that's creepy. But I'm like, oh, my God, what the heck?
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, he's the worst character, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. We need a OVA of him just, I don't care that it was made in 2006, we need an OVA of him just getting ruined over and over again.
Annihilated. Yeah, I would, honestly, like, I feel like a lot of fans would be here for that, because nobody likes him.
We'll crowdsource it.
It's like, ew, dude. Yeah, like, somebody, can somebody animate this somehow, and, like, I'm surprised there hasn't already been something like that, because he is, like, super hated from what I've read, as he should be, but I'm like, dude, like, I don't know, I just think, like, there's some lovable perviness, not from him, but I think, like, Keiichi, like, I usually don't like pervert characters, but I think Keiichi's, like, funny about it. Like, it's not his whole personality, and he, like, uses it to manipulate people, which is really funny. He's like, guys, like, this is how we can get stuff done, you know, like, by being perverts. I don't know, it's just, like, it's so unserious. I feel like when the characters are really serious about, like, you know, like, oh, I just want to touch a boob or something, then I'm like, can you not?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I agree with you. I think with Keiichi as well, you can tell that he's doing it from a sense of humor. Whereas with the coach, you can't always tell. Like,
he's not. He's serious.
And that feeling is just like, like,
I know.
You work with children on a regular basis. Like, this is
fire this man immediately. Get him out of here.
But yeah, I think that's kind of all of the main points that I wanted to cover. Brad, did you have anything you want to cover?
No, I think this has pretty much covered
Head empty?
Everything. Yeah, pretty much. Head always empty.
Head empty. Overall, did you guys have a good time with it?
I'm frustrated, yes, but
yeah.
No, towards the, I think frustration for a good portion of the beginning to middle parts where I was just like, ugh. The last 6 episodes was just relief. And I was like, So the last 6 episodes, very important. Liked those a lot. So that's why I'm like, I was surprised that the drop rate was kind of lower than I thought it would be, because I thought those first 20 episodes, I thought people would be like dying through. So I was like, wow, okay, people really went through it to get to those last 6 episodes. I get it once I've watched the last 6 episodes, but I wouldn't have thought that people would have gotten up to that point. Overall, though, yeah, I had a good time. I liked it. Brad?
It was good.
That's it.
Like, I mean, again, it was one of those things of I feel like I'm withholding judgment until I watch the second season.
Sure.
Because I feel bad for, you know, whether or not like my thoughts are misguided, because like I enjoyed it, but at the same time I feel like I still didn't, in a way, because there are so many things left unanswered to where it just feels not fair, because even the answers we got were just all over the place, and I feel like I didn't get the answers to the questions I wanted most.
Frustrating.
Okay.
So yeah, I think like once you watch season 2, you'll have more thoughts and feelings, and hopefully better ones.
Well, it's
fingers crossed.
It's also, I feel like, the first time where I've like just been so chomping at the bit to watch another season just so I can get answers. Because there've been some shows where it's like I don't really care, whereas this one I care enough to where I want answers. So that's kind of the way that I, you know, would prefer to put it, because it's not like I think the show is shit by any means. It's just like I want answers, and I want to seek out those answers rather than just being indifferent on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at the point where I would read the footnotes of season 2 just to be able to get answers. I'm like, I want them now. Like, I want them 2 days ago.
But it's so good. Season 2 is so good.
Okay. Well, we're definitely gonna have to watch season 2 and then update everybody on our thoughts and feelings and opinions on the second season because, yeah, frustrated, teased some nice answers, starting to get on the like, yeah, I can get with this shit.
Yeah, no.
I'm excited to hear your thoughts after season 2. I feel like that's when people like they just know that it's like, okay, like, yeah, this is special. Like in some way, you know, it's like even if you didn't like it, like it's still like, okay, this is very unique in a way that's like, wow, I've never seen something like this.
Yeah.
Well, you at least know one of two things are going to happen. One, you're going to be invited back for the second season, which you are more than welcome to come back for that. But two, your inbox is going to be blown the fuck up by me just going,
hell yeah,
what the actual fuck, man?
Please continue to do so, because every time you messaged me, I was like laughing so hard. I was just like living for the pain. I was like, yeah, suffer, but like in a good way. I'm like, oh my god, yeah, you suffer because like it's good. Like just trust. So I was like, oh my god, you're going through it. I felt these feelings. I had a lot of empathy, but I still laughed.
It's also how I feel whenever I'm messaging you about the book as well, to where I'm just like, oh my god, why is this a thing?
Dude, yeah.
I think I'm like halfway done with the book so far, and I'm having a time, man.
I'm 2 chapters from finishing it. This is Stolen by VM Nelson. Blue, I'm not sure.
I've heard.
But it's a lot, and dude, like, you're just reading it. I have to read it out loud and like not be super crying. Like, I cry a little bit and I leave it in, but like I don't, it's a really hard book. But it's so good. So I'm glad you're reading it.
It really is. I actually had I had messaged the author, and I was like, hey, so listen, I had Melissa on the podcast and she told me about your book, so I just wanted to actually reach out to you and tell you, like, this has gotten me back into reading. They're like, this is very good. Like, I'm all for, you know, showing her support, because I genuinely love those books. Like, they are very good.
She's extremely talented. I'm so glad you messaged her, because I feel like she doesn't get enough recognition, and she deserves it because she's just incredible.
Plus, highly recommend the audiobook as well. So, you know, definitely check that out.
Me too, in my unbiased opinion. You might have to listen to my voice for a while, but it's a
Who
time.
doesn't want that, though? We can just live in our magical world of Melissa's voice, taking us to different areas of magical novelness.
No joke.
I mean, I don't want that, but maybe you guys do.
No, that's fair.
I would much rather listen to yours than have to listen to mine. That's why I'm glad I don't do the audio editing for this anymore, because I'm sick and tired of listening to my own voice.
So you put that burden on me.
It's rough.
Look, all right, I also love listening to your voice, too. It's mine that I hate hearing, so it's fine.
Yeah, I believe you. Sure.
That's most people. Most people don't like their own voice, I feel like.
I don't really hear mine anymore. I've spent so many hours of my life editing my own voice that it doesn't even sound like mine. It's just noise.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm the same way at this point. I'm just like, yep, there it is again. that random thing whispering in the wind.
So, Brad, did we want to rate this, or are we going to wait until we watch the second season so we can give it a, like, full rounded rating?
I am not prepared to rate this, because I want more answers before I do it, because I feel like my rating now would not do it justice. 2!
No, I'm just kidding.
Damn,
no, we're not dive levels. We are nowhere near that level of garbage.
Or no. Tamayomi, was it? The baseball one that was made during halfway through COVID?
Oh yeah, just because that's the shittiest CGI I've seen since the horses in Freerun.
Yeah, it was it's a baseball anime, but they had to stop making it halfway, like COVID hit, like halfway through the production, and so they all went home and the animation just dive bombed. And I was like, I feel so bad for you, because clearly, like, you put your heart and soul into this project, but and especially because like Haikyuu and other animes at the same time were doing really well during COVID, and it was just, in comparison, did not hold up. So I feel really bad for them.
It's one of those, like, it had such an amazing premise because it was just like a girls' baseball anime. And it was something like Blue and I just really wanted to dig into. And I honestly would have been fine with a more like 90s or 2000s, like still shot, like animation style, rather than going to the CGI that they got. And I just felt like that was just such a missed opportunity to where I feel like they could have cheapened out in other avenues and made it like a better overall thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just wonder if they had some pressure from above, because I wish they could have just put a pause on it and come back to it. But because like it's so rare for you to get a girls' team sports anime, like it's all boys, and I was like so stoked for it to be like, go girls, and then I'm like,
that
sucks.
I
know.
Ugh, poor Tamiomi. I feel so bad.
Same, like it's the one show I felt bad for like negatively reviewing because it's like they couldn't help the circumstances that they were given for the production, other than the conversations you and I have of, you know, wait until you're done before you put the show out rather than still making it week to week as the show's going on, because that's hard on your entire team in general. And that's why Mappa almost had a walkout during the latest season of JJK, is because they were killing their animators, basically. So give your team time to work on stuff, and then maybe we wouldn't have these issues to begin with. We just need better, like, working conditions in the animation industry in general.
Who cares about that when you can make more money? That's really what they think, though. Like, I'm just standing in for them. But no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. But capitalism.
Capitalism.
Yeah, no, 100%. Capitalism wins the day, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Stupid.
But yeah, what about you? Do you want to rate it?
I'm gonna hold up on rating it as well. I feel like the average of the 8.9, the 7.94, just about an 8 out of 10, feels. What I like from what you've spoken about, Melissa, that feels like fairly accurate. And from what I've seen about the show, from what my brother spoke about when I said that I was watching it, he was like, "Oh yeah, that's a good one." Like I'm like aware of the cult following behind it, so I think that's fairly online with what I was thinking. In line with what I was thinking.
Yep.
Brain tired.
Nice. Real.
And so I don't know if I can personally rate it until I have more information on it. But yeah, a lot of feelings for this show. Made me feel a lot of things. Made me cry with Shion.
Oh.
So.
Shion.
So, there's that. And Brad's the crier out of the two of us. I don't cry. So that's saying something.
Yeah, I'm shocked. When was the last time we've had a cry count from you?
And I cried twice as well throughout it. Both with both being Shion. It was both Shion.
Oh.
But yeah. It was the betrayal of the sibling. That's what really got me. Was like you knew about everything and you made her torture herself. And then you were like, not good enough, killing him anyway. Like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like that was honestly one of the things that kind of pissed me off the most, was the whole, like, she made her rip out her own nails and then showed up the next day to her house and was acting like everything's fine. And I'm like, fuck you. Like that. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, that made me think, are we in a new Groundhog? Like I was like, have we skipped again? Like are we on a new day?
Yeah.
Because I was like, you cannot just be fine after that.
But yeah, I could 100% see, like, once we get answers, like being somewhere in that vicinity of like a 7.5 to 8 range. It's just that's not where I'm at now because I lack so many answers. So I'm looking forward to watching the second season though, for sure.
Fully.
I get it.
OP and ED though. OP, dude. I got like major Promise Neverland vibes. Like major.
I love that show. Makes sense. No, I feel like with Higurashi's OP, it's like so different. Like just in general, it's like very like you don't really get like the whole like tribal vibe with a lot of anime. I'm like, oh my God, this is so creepy and so fitting. But Promise Neverland, I feel that too. But it's just like that one is kind of like funny with it. I feel like because it's like a little more upbeat, like na 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 na. Like it's like I don't feel like this is gonna be a show about like murdering kids for
No. Oh my goodness. That first episode, just like, I've never been so taken aback by an ending to a first episode in my life to how that first one ended. I'm like, oh my God, the show's amazing. Oh my God, what is the show?
Yep. I wrote a blog about Promised Neverland.
Wow.
I'm a big fan, but yeah, I used to work for an animal rights organization, and I was comparing like the Promised Neverland to factory farming, like factory farming of animals.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was cool. But anyway, yeah, the OP and then the ED for Higurashi, I feel like that one's like so different from the OP too. It's just like, damn, we're like getting like mellowed out, like after people are like murdering each other, you know, like.
Yeah,
they're both. I love both.
No, I liked how the ED was kind of in a way, like a slap in the face of like, yeah, you still get answers here, chill out. Like that's how it felt, and I was like, screw you, you knew what you were doing with that. You knew what you were doing with that, and it pisses me off. But like, mad props.
But it's like those anime TikToks that you see of like, you just watch the most despicable, fucked up shit you've ever seen. Anime or like the ED, it's the most upbeat, happy thing you've ever listened to. It's like, why is this a thing in anime? Why do you make this show? And then
it's like someone's getting murdered, and then it's like, all right, we're dancing now. Like, I love it. That's like my favorite anime thing, though, where it's just like it doesn't match at all. It just it makes me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have any more thoughts on Higurashi. Well, I have a lot of thoughts, but I don't have any more thoughts to vocalize on Higurashi.
For now, until season 2.
So,
well, thank you guys for watching this, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining
Absolutely.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, thank you so much. It was an absolute blast to have you back, and also it was a blast to have you in this format because you are the first person that we've had on outside of Blue and I for an actual regular episode of the anime. So again, thank you for agreeing to do this, but also thanks for putting up with us in our shenanigans.
I feel honored, honestly. I'm just like, wow, you haven't done this before, and you take on little me to be in here. But no, this is so fun, and I love you guys' banter. I think it's so much fun.
Thank you.
I'm just glad to be here.
We're so glad to have you. And yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Melissa White's stuff, she's incredible. You can find her on Instagram. Do you have? I don't know your handle.
I think it's
okay.
I think it's Melissa White pretty much everywhere outside of TikTok. I think it's Melissa X White, right?
Wow, master of my handles. Like, let's go.
Look at that.
You got it all right.
I made a point of like trying to get it down for the Anime Island episode, and then now it just hasn't left. Also, one of my favorite Twitch streamers to watch. So go
stop.
You are genuinely the only streamer that I actually sit through whole streams of now. Just because it's such a vibe. Like, it's such a phenomenal community to be a part of, and just a great group of people. So
thank you. Oh, that makes me so happy. I feel like I just like my brand is like saying stuff that's very morbid with a smile on my face. I feel like that's what I do for all my streams. I'm just like, hey, yeah, let's die. I mean, I do it in here too, but that's just like who I am. But I'm glad it makes for an entertaining environment, because that's what we're going for. We're just trying to vibe.
We love meta.
So thank you. We love it. Love to see it.
So yeah, and then for us, it's BnB Anime on everything. Brad has things, I have things, but they're not really important compared to Melissa. So go check out her today. That's the thing for today is Melissa. If you have homework, go check out it's Melissa White. That's it. That's your homework, guys.
Yeah, that's the homework.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Next week, what are we doing next week, Brad?
I don't know. I thought we could either do the second season of this, or I have nothing. I've prepared literally nothing because work has destroyed my life the past 3 months. So my brain is dead. I'm surprised I've made it through this entire recording intact.
So
yeah. Anyways,
moving on from that, because we don't want to talk about awkward situations. Possibly second season of Higurashi next week then, or maybe a surprise. You'll never know. We'll figure it out. And yeah, that's it.
Yep, that's it. Thank you all so much for listening. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys. Bye.